In this video, we're going to put sheathing plywood on the walls. Okay, so we have to sheet all the walls as well as the gable ends on the trusses. And so we're going to begin by making the plywood. So for the walls, if you remember right, we set our walls in a 1/2 inch from the outside of the concrete because the plan said that we're going to put 1/2 inch plywood on the outside of the house. We wanted that to be even. So in reality, the OSB that we normally use is 7/16 of an inch thick. So you can make 7/16, you can make 1/2 inch. For this class, it's okay either way. But we need to make some plywood. This plywood we have over here was 3/4 inch plywood for the floors. That's different than the plywood we're going to use from the walls, and which is different than the plywood we're going to use for the roofs. The roofs will be 5/8 inches thick, and the walls will be 7/16. So I'm going to create a rectangle, and I'm going to make that rectangle 48 by 96, okay, 4x8 sheet, and that's the plywood. It doesn't look like it's the right size there, does it? Maybe it is. I'm going to double check the dimensions because it's always a good thing to do. And this is 4 feet, and that is 8 feet, so we're good. Okay, and now I'm going to use my push-pull tool to pull this up, and I'm going to come up 7/16 of an inch. And then I want to make it a group, like I always do, easier to work with that way. So I make it a group, get my paint bucket and paint it up. I'm going to make it look like OSB. So it's a little different than the plywood we had on the floor, but I'll give it an OSB color this time. And now we're ready to put some on the wall. So how I'm going to do this is I'm going to copy this one, and then I'm going to paste it. And now I need to turn it so that it's vertical. So I'm going to get a hold of this red plus sign here and turn it so it's vertical. And then I'm going to come to the top because I'm going to do this end wall first. And so I'm going to get a hold of the little plus sign here, and I'm going to turn it so that it's this direction. Now I started my layout from this side of the house going this direction. So I'm going to get this piece, and I'm going to get that outside corner. And actually what I want to do is get the inside corner because I want the inside corner to match up with the house because I'm going to be a 1/16 of an inch off on the width just because of the difference between the 1/2 inch that we set it in and the 7/16 on the plywood. So when I put that in there, you can see that it's just a little bit of an overlap there, okay, a 1/16 of an inch, because our plywood is 7/16 of an inch, or OSB, and not bigger than that. So there's the first sheet. Notice how the sheet comes out to the center of the stud. All sheets have to end at the center of a stud like that. Okay, so when you put them on, make sure that you're maintaining your spacing to the center of the stud. I want to use this same orientation, so I'm going to copy that piece and I'm going to paste it here. I want to make sure I get it on the corner. A little tricky just because of the offset. Okay, so that's where the next piece of plywood is going to go. And then so far we're still good, and we're going to have to put other short small pieces up here and then up the gable and so forth. But meanwhile we can just keep on putting these pieces together. I'm going to get the outside corner, and I'm going to bring it down flush with this outside corner. Okay, I just want to make sure that I still have that little 1/16 of an inch offset. See, I don't, so that's a problem. I need to go find out where the problem happened and then fix it. Happened on the first sheet, so I'm going to correct that. I'm going to get this outside corner and I'm going to move it in and snap it to that corner. Okay, and then, oh, that was the second sheet, so I'm good. Okay, so now I've got all three of them lined up correctly. What I want to show you is how to handle a window situation. So here we have a window, and we have an opening that needs to be taken care of in the window. We have to cut an opening in the window. You can see how the plywood is overlapping here. Okay. So how we do that, there's a couple of ways we can do that. We can make a rectangle and push it out, or we can come from the side. Okay. So let me see if I can get a good view of this. So what we can do is, let's see, I have a little trouble getting my view just right. Getting up into the trusses. Now that's one thing I could do. I could get rid of the trusses. I can go tags, and I can turn my trusses off while I play with this. Okay, so there's my plywood here. And so I can either come from the side, and I can put a couple of lines. I can draw a couple of lines top and bottom and push it back. Or I can come from this side, and I can put a rectangle in here. So you want to double click on the plywood. And I'm just going to put a rectangle on this side of the plywood. And then I'm going to get my push-pull tool and just push the plywood out. Okay, see what it does? It just cuts it right off the size of that rectangle, which just happens to be where the window is. And then you're all ready to go. Okay, now the next piece I'll set up, and I'll do another rectangle, and I'll push that out, and I'll just keep going across. And then I'll have to come up and put plywood up above for my gables. I'll cut it on the slope, and I'll have to put a little piece up here also. And I'll just continue all the way around the house that way. Okay. And the next thing we'll do is to put the plywood on the roof.